All right, so again, we're going to evaluate two expressions to see if they're equivalent to one another. So they give us the first expression, 2/3 cubed plus 3/8 minus 5/6 cubed plus 1/4. And we're going to see if that is equivalent to -1/9 times -9 plus 3 cubed minus 3/8 minus 1/6 cubed. And again, we just want to check and see if these two expressions are equivalent to one another, and we will explain why or why they are not at the end. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm looking at this first expression, and I notice that there's a q value, there's a constant, there's a q value, there's a constant. So they are not simplified. So we need to work with that first. So we have 2/3 q plus 3/8 minus 5/6 q plus 1/4. All right, so the first thing we want to do is figure out what terms we will need. So I notice that this is a q value, so we'll need a term for our q values. We notice that this is a constant, so we'll need a term for our constants. This is going to go in our q's, and this will also go under the constant. So we have everything that we need as far as our categories or terms. And so now what we're going to do is just place them where they belong. So 2/3 q is going to go here. You don't have to put a plus sign here to let you know that it's positive. Remember, if you don't see a sign, you know that it's positive. However, if it makes it easier for you when you're trying to simplify to definitely know that it's positive, or you still getting blurred with figuring out if it's positive or negative, then just go ahead and put a plus sign here. But I'm not going to do it this time. This here is going to be 3/8. That goes under constant. That's a positive. This one here is going to be -5/6. So -5/6 and then this is going to be plus 1/4. Okay. So this is going to be a positive. This is a negative. This is a positive. This is a positive. All right. So now what we're going to do is simplify them. Now I've shown you some videos on how to simplify this, but I'm going to do it the quicker way and just show you because at this point you should be using a calculator. So you should know how to manually figure out addition and subtraction of fractions. And if not, you go and check out some videos on how we learn how to do that. So here we're just going to plug in 2/3. So that's 2ABC3. That's a positive. And then we're going to subtract 5/6. So minus 5/6. And that is going to give me -1/6 Okay. And then here we're going to add 3/8 plus 1/4. So we have 3ABC8. That's a positive, so we'll leave it positive. And then we have, let me fix that back. And then we have a plus 1/4. So that's 1ABC4. And you end up with 5/8. Okay. So your answer, not your answer, but your simplified expression is going to look like -1/6 plus 5/8. Now let's look at the second expression and see how they compare to each other. So I'm going to do that one on a separate sheet of paper. So we'll do that one here. And the second expression is going to be -1/9. So we'll do -1/9. That's going to be multiplied by -9 plus 3q plus 3q. And then we're going to subtract out, and then we have 3/8 minus 1/6q. All right, we're going to simplify this expression. So first things first, we remember PEMDAS. We want to start off with our parentheses. Remember, if we don't see a number outside of the parentheses, you're assuming that you're multiplying by 1. However, if you see a number outside of the parentheses, remember that you need to multiply by that number. So we are multiplying by -1/9. I'm going to multiply each of the terms inside of my parentheses by 1/9. All right. So I know that 1 times 9 is going to give me 9. And then that's going to also be a 9 for the denominator. Negative times a negative is a positive. So I'll just leave that without a sign. Let me know that that's a positive. And then we have 1/9 times 3. So 1 times 3 is 3. And then 9 times 1, which would be your denominator for a whole number, is going to be 9. Okay, and then we'll put our Q over here. All right, so we have 9/9 minus 3/9. Oh, sorry, we didn't put our signs in. So negative and a negative is a positive. Negative and a positive is a negative. Okay, so we've taken that out of the parentheses. Now we're going to do the same thing to the second one. So again, it's like you're multiplying by 1, but notice that there's a negative. So that means you're multiplying by -1. And remember, we said that if we're multiplying by -1, it's like using the opposites of these numbers inside of here, okay? So let's just take a step back. Let's just envision it as just a 1. Ignore the negative sign. We're just going to treat it as 1. So if it's 1, everything is going to just be brought down. So 3/8 minus 1/6 q, right? So that's the same if we were multiplying that by 1. But now because it's a negative, we have a negative and a positive, that becomes a negative. We have a negative and a negative, that becomes a positive. So notice that now our 3/8 is no longer positive, it's negative. And our -1/6 q is no longer negative, it's now positive. So we just use the opposites, okay? All right, so now what we need to figure out is how many terms will we need? How many columns are we going to need for us to simplify this? So I know that this is going to be our constants. We'll need something for our q values, constant and q values. Okay, so now what we have is going to be 9/9. And just so you're aware, 9/9 is the same thing as 1. So hopefully you figured that out. And then we have our 3/9 q. So we'll have 3 up. That's under the wrong one. That was a constant. So 9/9 goes under the constant. Our -3/9 q. So we're going to put that over here. 3/9 times q. And then here we have -3/8. That goes under our constant. And then we have a plus or positive 1/6 q. So that goes over here. All right, so now all you need to do is use your calculator if you want to go faster, or you can go on and simplify it yourself manually by finding common denominators for your fractions. All right, so we have 3/9. So 3 ABC 9. This is a negative, so make sure that you turn that into a negative. And then we're going to add 1/6. So 1 ABC 6. All right, and so we get -1/6. So we got -1/6 q. And then over here, we have 9/9, or you don't even have to do that. You can also put in 1, whichever one works for you. I'm just going to put in 1 because I know 9/9 is 1. So I'm just going to say 1, and that's a positive, right? Should have put a positive right there. All right, so that's a positive 1. And now I'm going to subtract 3/8. So minus 3 ABC 8, and I'm left with 5/8. Okay, and that's a positive. All right, so let's just make sure that we have it all in order. Okay, so now what we're doing is looking at our two expressions. We have -1/6 q, -1/6 q. We have +5/8, and here we have +5/8. So yes, they are equivalent to each other.